Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So there was quite a few horses that caught my eye on the flat this week that have, I think all of them have at least dropped. No, one of them hasn't changed handicap mark actually, but definitely caught my eye and I think I know where they should go next. So the first horse was Stone of Destiny, who ran on the soft stroke heavy going, and just look at his form right there. Look at the goings on this page. So most recently there's been a load on the all-weather, but before that, good to firm, good to firm, good to firm, standard to slow, good to soft. He's never ran on soft heavy. Why did he never run on soft heavy before? Because he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. And so you can completely ignore that run there. In my opinion, he'll be much better than that. The handicapper kind of agrees, I think. He didn't want to drop him, and he's left him on 75. So where do you go with Stone of Destiny? Well, I think the main aim is probably this Epsom Dash. Now, he's finished 6th in it, off 92. And he's also finished 3rd in it, off 102. Okay, he's not as good as he was, but he can definitely go close in this race off 75. Now, 75 might not get in. So they need to find a race beforehand to try and win to get him in. And I think this is the perfect race for him. It's a 0 to 75 handicap. He's rated 75. So he would be running against inferior opposition. He's only had the one run at Haydock, which is where this is. And he was 5th, beaten a length, off a mark of 101. He's only had the one run at Haydock. In a much harder race, he finished 5th off 101. You know, obviously a reproduction of that effort, and he wins it comfortably. But even not anywhere near that, he would still probably go really close at Haydock. It's a week before the Epsom Dash. You win that, you go up enough in the weights to get into the Epsom Dash. So yeah, that would be what I would be doing with Stone of Destiny, going to Haydock where he's only had the one run. He's got good form there, and then ending up in the Epsom Dash again. Hopefully that is the plan. Second horse that caught my eye was Revic, who dropped £1 to 92. Now, if you remember my videos last year, he is a horse that I do like. Very consistent, especially this time last year. He was very consistent after having his comeback run in the Lincoln. He finished 15th in the Lincoln last year, before going and finishing 3rd, 2nd and 3rd on his next 3 runs at Chester, Epsom and Goodwood, respectively. Now, I think he'll do the same. He finished 9th in the Lincoln this year. He was never in there to, you know, he struggled in it last year. He struggled in this year. He's possibly ran a slightly bit better this year compared to last year. So where do they go? Well, they've just got to go back for that Chester race, haven't they? The 7 furlong, 127 yards. He was 3rd in it last year. That came off 95. Admittedly, Harry Davis took 7 off that year. Last year, so if they can find maybe a £5 claimer, he'd be off a £1 lower mark effectively, because he's currently £3 lower than he ran in it last year. Obviously, if you can find a £7 claimer, then, you know, a good one, then you would have a massive chance. But yeah, I'd be very confident of a huge run from Revic if he turns up at Chester next time. The next horse I want to talk about is Lynn, who was dropped £1 to 108. Now, for me, I wonder whether they might be looking at the Wokingham with him. Now, he did run in it off 95 with a £5 penalty a couple of years ago, but that was only 4 days after running a good race, finishing 7th in a Group 1 over 5 furlongs. Now, regardless of what the fact that he ran well and it was off a lower mark, that race the time before, just a few days before, must have left a little bit of its mark. And with that in mind, he's probably run really well to finish 3rd. Had they gone straight to the Wokingham, I think they probably would have won it. And if you get a horse who's won a Wokingham coming back, albeit off maybe, what would he be? He'd be £8 higher at the moment, albeit off a £8 higher mark, I still think he'd go really close. Now, I wonder if they try and find a race before that they can just get him dropped another couple of pound. You know, if they get him dropped down to, say, 103, well, that's £5, that might be too much. 105, for example, they would surely go to the Woking with big chance. There is a race that I'm interested in, and it's this one here, the 6 furlongs Cecil Frail's listed race. Previously it's been for fillies and mares, but looking on the upcoming entries on the BHA website, it doesn't suggest it here that it is a fillies and mares only race. It could be an oversight from them, they haven't put it on yet, but if it's not, and it's now been opened up to geldings as well, and potentially colts, then I think this is where they might run King's Lynn. Now King's Lynn obviously could go here and actually win it, but he could also go here and run disappointingly. Why could he win it? Well, he's been to Haydock before and he did win a 5 furlong. I think it was a listed race. Let's just have a look. He's also got a win back here at Haydock. What is he? Is he 2 from 2 at Haydock? He might be 2 from 2. So if it is a race that he can run, and he's won a Group 2 and he's won a listed race. So if he could run in this race, if it isn't restricted to fillies and mares, then that would give you an idea as to where they're going. Are they trying to win this race, or are they trying to get him dropped in the handicap for the Wokingham? But he's definitely a horse that I'm interested in, only at about that level, listed level, handicap. Don't think he's a Group 2, Group 1 horse. But definitely keep an eye out for King's Lynn. The next horse I want to talk about, I mentioned in my review video, is Al Marmar, who finished 10th, was never going to win once the jockey lost his irons. But he ran okay. That wasn't the worst run in the world. And there's an obvious race for him, I think. It's this race here. It's the Apprentice Handicap Class 3 for horses rated 76 to 95. Al Marmar is currently rated 87, so would be smack bang in the middle. And he's got some good form at Ascot. If we just go back to his record here, he's got a 2nd, he's got a win, and he's got a 7th. I think that's where they should turn up. I think this is the race that it's replaced. It didn't used to be for apprentices only. But if he turned up here, would Al Marmar run a big race? Absolutely. Granted, Atrium has gone on to bigger and better things, but the rest I think he would have beaten. So yeah, Al Marmar to Ascot would be a good one, I think, on the Wednesday the 3rd of May. Islakai or Islakai ran over that far side, which wasn't the place to be. 3 of the front 4 in the betting finished, I think they finished 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st. The 4 of the 5 over the far side, I can actually find this out. 4 of the 5 over the far side finished 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st in the Spring Mile. That's why they're then all congregated in the Lincoln. So with that in mind, Islakai dropping £2 is quite kind. The trainer has a really well handicapped horse, and I think there is the perfect race for him, and I'd be very, very disappointed if he doesn't go super close if he runs here. And it's this race here. It's the Spring Cup at Newbury. The Spring Cup at Newbury was actually the race that Migration was really shown that he can run big races in handicaps over a mile. The horse who beat him, Modern News, has gone on to bigger and better things, has won listed races, has won group races, and has run in group races. Much better race than what it appeared. So with that in mind, Modern News is better than what he is here. Migration was better than what he was here. Road Bear, was clearly fancied, only went off 3 to 1. Islakai finished 4th. A reproduction of that run here off a, what is he, a £4, £6? Let me just double check. He is off, I haven't written it down, let me just pause the video and check. He was finishing 4th off 99. He's now down to 90. If he turned up in this race off 90, he would push Migration and Modern News. That's where he's got to go. If he goes there, I would be hugely confident of a big run for Islakai. That would probably be the one from the video that I'm most confident on. The penultimate one in this video is a horse called Jimi Hendrix. So Jimi Hendrix has had reasons why he's disappointed the last 4 runs. The trainer came out and explained, he was drawn out wide on one. He hates the heavy going, and yet he ran on heavy going again. We already knew he hated heavy going at Newbury. He ran at Doncaster on heavy going. He was never going to win that then. And if you watch, he come off the bridle quite early. Before running on to go, he ran okay for 13th. The handicapper dropped him £2 to 94, suggesting he is nicely handicapped now. He's only £2 higher than when winning at Newmarket. on the July course in July last year. And where do I think they could go with him? Well, he's a little bit of a long shot, this one, but I would be tempted to run him in this race, the Victoria Cup. Why? It's got great prize money, 1. He's got good form at Ascot, 2. You know, he has had a third here in June. What was this? This was in the Britannia? It was in the Britannia. He was third. So he's got good Royal Ascot form. And I just think they will go plenty fast enough in the Victoria Cup to give him a big chance of using that stamina that he does have. So yeah, that's where I'd be hoping Jimi Hendrix turns up in the lucrative Victoria Cup over 7 furlongs, and hopefully be running on strongly. He's got the course form and he needs the good ground, so keep an eye out for him when he gets good ground. The final horse is Warning Sign. Now, he's come back as a gelding for Gary Moore after 2 moderate runs at Sandown or Goodwood. This was probably a very good effort considering where he came from. He was the only one drawn in the low 5. There was 5 horses drawn low that all stayed over the far side. As I mentioned earlier in this video, they finished 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st. Warning Sign, however, finished 10th. He actually ran a really good race to finish 10th. And I think he could be very interesting wherever he turns up next. Where is that going to be? I don't know. You see, we've only got 3 runs. And he's got plenty of French form. But I don't know where he's going to turn up. But he's one that I definitely want to keep an eye out for. I don't think the ground was an issue. I just think he was on the wrong side. If he'd been in with the group, he might well have gone very close. And the handicap was very kind. He dropped him £2 to 81. If he'd been on this side, I don't think he would have dropped at all, because I think he would have finished probably in the top 5, maybe even gone better than that. So the fact he has been dropped £2 is very interesting as well for Gary Moore. So there's some horses that I definitely recommend keeping in mind. Stone of Destiny, hopefully to go to Haydock and then end up in the Dash. Revic should keep to what he did last year, go to Chester. King's Lynn, I wonder whether he's being aimed at the Wokingham, if they can drop him a few pound. Al Marmar, I'd like to see him at Ascot in the Mile Apprentice Handicap. Islakai, I'm going to call him Islakai, would be a very confident selection in the Spring Cup if he turns up for £9 lower mark than when 4th behind 3 very good horses. Jimi Hendrix, I'd love to see him drop back in trip for the Victoria Cup. And Warning Sign, he's one that you've got to keep in mind going forward, wherever he runs. If they drop him back in class as well, I think he's very, very interesting.